It's Vicki Lorenz Englund. You can see here, V-I-C-K-I, Englund, E-N-G-L-U-N-D. And I'm a Democrat, the Democratic nominee for Missouri State Treasurer.
Okay, what do you believe is the most important issue as we head into November?
Sure. So the most important issue for me, especially as a state treasurer candidate, is COVID-19. COVID is obviously a health issue, but it's also just as importantly an economic issue. And so when we're looking at the effects that COVID-19 is having on our economy, we have to be very focused on small businesses and farms that are really struggling and really getting impacted the most by COVID-19.
So what are we doing wrong right now, if anything, and what will you do differently if you win?
Sure. So we as a state, and especially our state leaders, are really failing when it comes to talking about the severity of COVID-19 and encouraging people to do what they can about it. One of the most important things you can do to protect yourself and protect your family, and also at the same time protect your community, is wearing a mask. And when we have state leaders that don't wear masks consistently, that have not issued a statewide mask mandate, that's sending the wrong message. It's sending a message that this disease is not going to hit us as a state and that we should just keep moving along as if nothing has changed. When in reality, what we really need is a mask mandate. Not that the state treasurer would be able to do that per se, but I think the treasurer can definitely model behavior, talk to small businesses, understand that we cannot get our economy back on track until consumers can feel safe and be safe going out and spending their money again. So those are that's the most important way to get our economy back on track.
So my first question was asking what's most important to you, and now I want to know, what do you believe is most important to Missouri voters?
Sure. So I think one of the things I'm hearing the most about during this time is healthcare. You know, the state passed Medicaid expansion just 2 short months ago. It was something that we had been talking about a long time. When I was in the legislature, is when the Obama care was first passed, and we had an opportunity to expand it back then. But people are really afraid that should they come down with COVID, that they're not going to have coverage. We need to make sure the healthcare plan that's currently in place continues to cover pre-existing conditions. And, people are also having difficulty just seeing their normal doctor. And we definitely want to make sure that the will of the voter that was heard on August 4th of this year is actually implemented. And the treasurer's office does have some responsibility to make that happen.
Of the following topics, what do you believe is top of mind for voters right now? Economy, racism, or COVID-19? Which is the biggest concern, and how would you, if you were to win, address those?
Well, when you run for office and you are working in public policy, you can't typically just focus on one item at a time. So as the treasurer, I would do several things. First, as far as the economy goes, there are lots of things that the treasurer can promote. Not just things that the treasurer's office currently does, but I have listed 100 ideas of how to get Missouri's economy back on track on my website at vickyenglund.com, and that's one new idea every day for the last 100 days of the campaign. And so you can go there. It's everything from having, like I said, targeted small business loans, to investing in fields such as clean energy, investing in places where the jobs of the future are. It's also supporting our nonprofits and working with other folks in other branches of government to save money throughout the Missouri state government. Also, when you're talking about racism, it is a problem. Missouri is not unique in that there are parts of Missouri that have had uprisings, just like there have been in other parts of the country, but there have also been supportive marches for Black Lives Matter all over Missouri, whether it's a rural, urban, or suburban area. So as far as racism and institutional racism goes, the treasurer's office can do several things to improve that. One of the main jobs of treasurer is to invest your taxpayer dollars, and that money gets invested while the legislature and the governor decide how it's going to be spent. As treasurer, I will look at the corporate diversity statements of the companies that your taxpayer dollars get invested in and make sure that those companies are consistent with my values of inclusion, my values of sustainability, and also as good investment products. So that's one thing that we can do differently in the Treasurer's Office. We can also have an internship program with the HBCU there in Jefferson City at Lincoln University, bring those students into the Treasurer's Office, which currently does not have a high level of diversity in the office itself. We can teach those young students how to invest, how to do more things economically, and really create some good knowledge for the students there at Lincoln University. I think you had also mentioned COVID as being an issue, which we did talk about, but it really enters into a lot of new things that we need to be doing as the government. So my background is also, not only have I worked for the Clinton administration at the SBA, but I'm also a small business owner myself, and I've been selling online for the last 20 years. And as treasurer, one of my goals is to help small businesses adapt to the new normal by bringing their businesses and their products online. That is something that I had planned to do before COVID happened, but it's something that we need to provide that technical assistance to Missouri businesses so they can weather this storm and make sure that they have a new marketplace for their products.
How would you reassure voters that you will fight for what they want?
Well, I'm not a newcomer to politics. I was first elected back in 2008, and I served the people of South St. Louis County very well. I served in the legislature for a total of 4 years. I also served on the Lindbergh School Board, which is an award-winning school board, for 6 years. And so my dedication to Missouri and to my constituents has been long founded and is very close to my heart. I have 3 children myself, and I know that any good leader makes sure that they keep in mind their families, everyone else's families, all the struggles that other families are going through. And we work together toward building this community. That's something that people have been crying for the last 4 years. They've been wanting leaders that listen to them. And I've been hearing that time and time again when I talk to voters. And so that's something that I keep top of mind every single day.
Why run for state treasurer?
Well, state treasurer is one of those offices that not many people know about. And I've gone over a few of the things that the treasurer does, but what really got me interested in the treasurer's office was the unclaimed property division. And so when I was first elected state rep back in 2008, someone came to my office and handed me a CD-ROM and said, Representative Englund, here's a list of people in your district that have money that they've lost and they don't even know they have it. So if you contact them, you can get them their money back. And I thought, what an amazing concept. I mean, voters want you to help them in any way you can. And so why not give them their own money back? So we had some interns try to get some of that money returned, and we were successful in a few cases, but the whole concept of having unclaimed property and just trying to find the people to give that property back to, it also inspired me to pass legislation in 2013. I'm the daughter of a Vietnam veteran, and when I found out there were several hundred military medals in the treasurer's office in the unclaimed property division, it upset me that we weren't doing more to find the owners of those medals. So I passed legislation. It was bipartisan, it was unanimous, and it allowed the treasurer's office to provide more information about those military medals, photos, last known addresses online. And as a result of that bill passing, we returned over 100 military medals back to the families who lost them. So it's a combination of those things. In addition, the treasurer's office plays an important role in 529 college savings accounts. I'm the first in my family to go to college, and I mentioned being on the school board, so public education is something that's very important to me. I also used to be a federal employee and a state employee. The treasurer sits on the Mosers board, which is the retirement board for government employees. Treasurer also sits on the Missouri Housing Development Commission. I have a real estate background in commercial real estate. And so it just seems like all of the pieces that the treasurer's office touches, and including the Missouri Arts Council. I'm also a crafter. I create things. This is my craft room here. So Missouri History Museum is also one of the things, one of the boards that the treasurer sits on. So it covers a lot of different things, but I really am drawn to the missed opportunity that seems to be going on right now in the treasurer's office. When you have a statewide platform, it seems to me you should be using it more for entrepreneurialism and to inspire people and help people start and continue and thrive in their small businesses.